My wife slept with my best friend and laughed, so I turned her betrayal into a surgical divorce, a legal execution, and a silent exit without looking. She said it like she was announcing a lunch special. I slept with Gary, your best friend. But relax, it meant nothing. I watched the fire flicker in the reflection of her wine glass. She did not even blink, did not even look at me, just scrolled her phone like she was checking the weather forecast after casually detonating a landmine. I remember thinking, that is a strange choice of words, relax. As if betrayal was something you could soothe with a warm towel or Xanax. I did not throw the glass. I did not yell, did not even ask why. Instead, I stood up, walked into the kitchen, and poured myself a glass of water, like my throat had suddenly dried from the sheer absurdity of it all. My hand did not tremble. I did not blink faster. I did not pace. I did not do any of the things I thought a man would do after hearing something like that. Instead, I let the silence do the heavy lifting. Upstairs, the light in our bedroom still glowed under the doorframe, and I could hear her voice through the floorboards, already on another call, laughing. She just confessed to detonating a 30-year friendship and an 18-year marriage, and now she was laughing. That was the moment I realized something fundamental. This was not her first betrayal. This was just the first one she bothered to mention. Because when someone shrugs like that, they are not revealing. They are bragging, testing you, seeing if your spine is made of rubber or rebar. And she just found out I was not going to bend. I went into the guest room, shut the door, and sat on the edge of the bed we had only ever used when her mother visited. The sheet still smelled like mothballs and lilac. I stared at the lamp for a long time, then opened the drawer in the nightstand. There it was, the old leather-bound notebook I used to sketch furniture designs in. I had not touched it in years, not since I retired. The first page had a faded pencil drawing of a rocking chair dated 2009. The last page was blank. I picked up the pencil and wrote 5 words, "She thinks I will not leave." I stared at them for maybe 10 minutes. Then I crossed out "will not." I replaced it with "does not know I already did," because that was the truth, was not it. The moment she said Gary's name, something inside me did not break. It evacuated. She thought she was dropping a grenade. She did not realize I had already built the bunker. I took the notebook, quietly walked into our master bedroom, and watched her for a few seconds. She was in bed, eyes on her phone, still chuckling, feet wrapped under the same blanket we used on our last road trip. Her wine glass, half full, rested on the nightstand beside a photo of us taken in Sedona. We were smiling. Her hand was on my chest. I looked like a man who thought he was safe. She did not even glance up. She just said, "Do not be dramatic, Alan, you are acting weird." I smiled. "You are right, I am just tired." Then I opened the closet, grabbed the safe key from the jacket I kept stitched into my blazer's inner pocket, and walked back downstairs. The small gunmetal box under our bed creaked when I pulled it out, like it knew it was being summoned for something final. Inside, old receipts, tax forms, insurance documents, and a backup drive I had not touched in years. I placed everything on the dining table in perfect order, just like I did when assembling test blueprints for jet turbines. Then I sat, not to cry, not to grieve, to calculate. The printer hummed softly in the background like a distant war drum. Jenna's laughter upstairs was louder, sharper. She was pouring another glass, on the phone with someone I did not recognize by voice anymore. It was the same laugh she used when we first met, reckless and honeyed. Except now it did not sound like mine. It sounded repurposed. I ignored it. Instead, I focused on laying out the documents like a surgeon preparing for a delicate procedure. The backup drive clicked quietly as it loaded. 4 years ago, when my firm was cleaning out its archives, I took the habit home, duplicating data, archiving every version, time-stamping revisions. Jenna used to roll her eyes. She called it your Cold War paranoia. I guess Cold War tactics come in handy when you are dealing with espionage under your own roof. I clicked open the drive folders named 2019 Corporate Files, Jenna Statements, General Tax Documents Archive, Nest Camera Snaps, Audio Miscellaneous. Some of it made my stomach turn because I had seen the patterns years ago. Her card being used at the same bar on nights she claimed to be at Megan's. Gary tagging vague group dinners on Instagram where she was always just outside frame. One clip from the doorbell camera, her saying, "No one ever checks the side gate, do not worry." That was from 2 summers ago. I remember because that same night she came home with a sprained wrist and said she slipped getting out of Megan's pool. She had never even been to Megan's pool. I opened a blank document and stared at it for a while. Then, with an eerie calm, I typed the title, Declaration of Marital Fraud. It sounded dramatic, legal, final, just how I needed it to sound. I included everything: date of her admission, history of questionable financial transfers, one oddly specific Venmo caption for last night, under the stars crescent moon, sent to Gary, relevant snippets from synced messages via iCloud. She never changed her login from the time I set up her phone years ago. Photographic timestamps of her car parked outside Gary's firm during nights she claimed to be with her book club. Her signature on our prenup with the infidelity clause highlighted in neon yellow. Screenshots of the group chat where she joked, "Imagine sleeping with your husband's best friend and still getting to keep the house." Manifesting nail polish. I signed it with my full legal name, timestamped it, scanned it twice, and saved it as PDF and DOCX. By 11:40 post-meridian, the drive was loaded. At 11:55, the envelope was sealed. It was thick, heavier than it should have been, not in grams but in gravity, the kind of envelope that made hands shake when they held it. I wrote her name on the front. Just that. No message, no threat, no goodbye, Jenna. I placed it gently on the center of the kitchen island, right next to the fruit bowl with the slowly rotting oranges she had meant to juice for the past 3 weeks. They had gone soft, collapsed inward, just like her loyalty. She came down sometime after midnight to refill her glass. I watched from the shadows by the patio, completely still. She did not see the envelope, but I did, and I knew that when she did open it, it would not just be paper, it would be a scalpel. Once she had handed me herself, she laughed like nothing in the world was wrong. Upstairs, through the thin plaster walls of a house I built for my own retirement bonus. Her voice echoed, light, flirtatious, too loud for someone with a sleeping husband. Except I was not sleeping. I was watching the clock strike 1:36 ante-meridian from the driver's seat of my truck. Parked 2 blocks down, engine off, no headlights, just waiting. Listening to the tick of the analog. Watch she gave me for our 10th anniversary. The only gift she ever got right. I waited 30 more minutes just to be sure. I had seen her routine too many times to risk it. She did not check the kitchen after midnight. She did not lock the doors. She was too confident. She thought the world would hold itself together just because she never imagined it falling apart. By 2:12 ante-meridian, I was on the interstate. The envelope sat beside me like a CO pilot. I did not bring clothes, did not bring toiletries, just the envelope, my ID, a few folders, and an address. I had not typed or spoken aloud in a decade. I did not need GPS. My hands remembered the road. The road itself felt familiar, like a scar. 7 ante-meridian found me sitting in a wicker chair in the sunroom of a house, tucked behind trees and bad decisions. The lawyer, Charlie Madsen, came in wearing pajama pants and a college sweatshirt. Same coffee mug as always. "Sue me." "You look like hell," he muttered. "You still owe me one," I said, setting the envelope down on the table like I was dropping a loaded weapon. He sat, took a long sip, and picked it up, opened it carefully, like it might explode. When he got to the drive and the printed documents, he stopped. "Jesus, Alan, this is not a divorce. This is an execution." "She left the knife on the table," I said flatly. "I just picked it up." He leafed through the declaration photos, message logs, her own voice on a recording, laughing about how Gary is better with his hands than Alan ever was. Her words, her voice, her arrogance, immortalized in MP3. Charlie blinked hard. "You want this done clean? I want it done surgical." He stood and walked into his office without another word. I heard drawers open, paper shuffle, a faint click of a safe being opened. When he returned, he had a yellow notepad and a document with the header, "Petition for dissolution of marriage with costs." "I will prep everything," he said. "Emergency protective filing, asset lock, full injunction against property transfer. Do you want to blindside her or give her notice?" I looked out the sunroom window, watching the leaves sway under soft morning. "She gave me none," I said. "Return the favor." He nodded. "And Gary?" I met his eyes. "She will go to him. He will slam the door. His wife is getting a package today, too." The lawyer smiled grimly. Cold? She made me cold. For a long moment, we did not speak. Just the scratching of pen on legal pad. Just the whisper of a printer kicking to life behind his office door. Just the sound of an old friend helping dismantle the life I thought I had. Outside, the first sun broke over the hills. Inside, we began the paperwork that would unravel Jenna's world, one notarized line at a time. Charlie did not say much as he pulled the drive from the envelope, inserted it into his laptop, and opened the folders with that clinical detachment only lawyers and morticians seem to master. But I could tell the occasional tightening of his jaw, the single eyebrow lift, the slow drag of his coffee mug across the table. Each movement whispered what he did not need to say aloud. Damn. The screen lit up with a grid of files. Neat, color-coded, time-stamped with obsessive precision. If I had to destroy a woman, I would do it like an engineer. Start with the messages, I muttered. He clicked on the folder Jenna text messages. Inside, PDF exports of chat logs, 1 per month, going back almost 2 years. Wait, how did you get this? He asked. Old iCloud login. She never changed it after I set it up in 2015. Still synced to the iPad she never used again after TikTok came along. I wiped the location data and screen grabbed everything. Dates, times, emojis, nothing missing. He scrolled. One message caught his eye. Gary, I swear if Alan ever finds out. Jenna, he will not. He is too busy sanding dead trees and pretending we are still in love. Another. Jenna, let us do your place again Friday. Tell Tina it is a team dinner. Laughing out loud. Gary, you are evil. Jenna, you love it. Charlie closed the folder with a soft breath and opened the next. Location tags for late-night pings from her phone, each within 15 feet of Gary's condo, cross-referenced with timestamps from their shared calendar where she had marked herself at book club. The last entry had a note. Bring wine and wear the necklace he hates. Then came the voice memo. She recorded it drunk, probably meant to delete it. Instead, it landed in her iCloud vault. Charlie hit play. I love that it was his best friend. The thrill of it. It is almost like Alan deserves it for being so damn boring. I mean, he builds tables and thinks that is romance. Jesus. He did not finish playing it. He just stopped the recording and sat back. You know, he said quietly. Most guys bring me blurry screenshots and some vague suspicion. You brought me a goddamn black box flight recorder. I was trained to diagnose catastrophic failure before the plane hits the mountain, I said. Marriage is not that different. He opened the last file, our prenup, signed 18 years ago at her insistence, back when she was a dental hygienist with student loans, and I was a fresh retiree from Lockheed with a pension big enough to make gold diggers blush. She had wanted to protect herself. I agreed on one condition, fidelity clause. She signed it after half a glass of rose and a speech about how she had never betray someone who made her feel safe. Clause 14C. Any proven act of marital infidelity shall void spousal entitlement to retirement, funds, alimony, or post-separation support. It was signed, notarized, filed. I assume you are not warning her, Charlie said, still on the clause. Nope. You realize she will lose the house. No contest. She lost me first. He leaned back, exhaled slowly, then clicked Save All and backed up the files twice. Once to his own encrypted drive, once to a cloud folder under my name. Alan, he said, this is not just cold, it is nuclear. I nodded. And just like any nuclear event, she will not hear the explosion until the light is already passed. My phone buzzed once, then again, and again in quick succession. I did not look at it right away. There is a strange serenity that comes with silence by choice, choosing not to hear the storm because you already boarded the windows and moved inland. But eventually, curiosity outpaced indifference. 9:06 ante-meridian. 3 messages stacked like a panicked crescendo. What is this, Alan? I did not mean to hurt you like that. This is overkill. Please call me. We can fix this. I let the screen dim without responding. No rage, no heartbreak. Just a quiet confirmation that the knife had landed exactly where I had aimed it, clean through the ribcage of her arrogance. 5 missed calls came next. The last one left a voicemail. 30 seconds of stammering and trying to sound confused, as if the woman who once laughed about cheating with my best friend was now shocked I had the gall to care. I did not listen to the end of it. Instead, I passed the phone to the clerk at the notary's office. She slid the dissolution packet back across the desk, her eyes wide. This is comprehensive, she said. 12 pages. That is all it took to dismantle nearly 2 decades of what we used to call a life. The front page was plain. Petition for divorce with costs. The attached exhibits made it anything but. I initialed each section without hesitation, the clause confirming spousal infidelity, the emergency freeze on joint accounts, the waiver of right to contest asset division. Charlie sat to my left, calm as ever, flipping pages as I signed. Behind his glasses, I could see him scanning Jenna's text again on his laptop. Just to make sure, just to double-kill the doubt. She is going to go nuclear, he muttered. She already did, I replied. I just gave the fire a name. He handed me a black pen, the kind with the heavy barrel and the perfect glide, and pointed to the last line. Final signature, petitioner. I signed it. That was it. 18 years gone and a signature and a quiet breath. The clerk gathered the pages, added her stamp, and began processing the filing for the court. Estimated approval time 14 business days. But the effect? Immediate. She would know it before lunch. And sure enough, while Charlie and I waited for our copies to be notarized, her name lit up my phone again. 10 calls in under an hour. She was not texting anymore. She was spiraling. I could imagine it vividly. Her in the kitchen, still in her robe. Mascara smudged from no sleep, staring at the envelope on the island and realizing it was not an argument. It was an obituary. At 10:18 ante-meridian, another message came. "We can work through this. Please, I love you." That was when I realized she still did not get it. She thought she had broken my heart, but she never understood what she broke was the contract. Love that was gone the moment she made a joke about Gary being better with his hands. What I felt now was not grief. It was focus, like a man assembling a final blueprint before demolition, because you cannot mourn something you have already begun to erase. By noon, her panic had gone feral. She stopped calling me. That well had dried up. She knew silence was now my language. So she moved on to plan B, Gary. Of course it was Gary. The man who grunted through golf stories and offered her cheap Chardonnay in hotel rooms he paid for with a company card he thought no one watched. Gary, who once toasted me at our wedding and said, "If you hurt her, I will bury you." The irony? Poetic. Her first call to him went straight to voicemail. No ring, just that dull, robotic voice telling her the mailbox was full. She tried again and again. By the fourth attempt, she was not leaving messages anymore. She was screaming into the void. I did not have to see it to know exactly how it went. At 1:34 post-meridian, she drove to his house. He lived out in Greenwood Acres, the kind of place where wives wore tennis skirts they never sweated in, and husbands kept lawnmowers they paid someone else to use. She did not knock gently. His wife answered. Dana, 5 feet 9 inches, a Pilates instructor, sharp as piano wire. I always liked Dana. She never tried to impress, and she saw through the way Jenna would size her up at cookouts. Jenna stood on the doorstep, breathless, eyes wild, words coming out in shattered syllables. Something about talking to Gary. None of it was supposed to happen like this. I just need to explain. But Dana did not blink, did not ask questions. She just said, cool and clear, I already saw the email that stopped Jenna cold. Because that email was not just a heads up. It was a precision strike. I sent it at 6 ante-meridian to Dana's work account, the one Gary thought I did not know. It contained a polite note and a zipped folder labeled, "For your eyes only." Inside, screenshots of Jenna and Gary's chat logs, the hotel invoice charged to Gary's corporate card, one voice memo from Jenna. Honestly, he is better than Alan ever was. I wish I could just swap them like socks. And just in case she thought I faked it, the last attachment was a photo, Gary's hand, ring and all, resting on Jenna's thigh under a restaurant table, taken by a discreet camera in a nearby flower pot. A little gift from my former aerospace buddy who now worked in private security. Dana did not raise her voice. She simply stepped aside and pointed at the sidewalk. You should leave, she said, before the neighbors start watching. Jenna stood frozen for a second, the way someone does when their last illusion has just popped like a balloon in a quiet church. No, she said, barely audible. He loves me. Dana did not argue. She just went inside and closed the door quietly. No screaming, no slamming. That silence, louder than any argument Jenna had ever won. Gary never called her back, never texted, never explained. He went dark like a submarine under threat, deep and unreachable. Later, I would hear from a mutual acquaintance that he was sleeping in his brother's garage, trying to keep his job and salvage whatever public dignity he had left. Meanwhile, Jenna drove away from that cul-de-sac like a woman being chased by a ghost she finally saw too clearly in daylight. Only now it had my face. The cabin sat at the edge of Lake Holt, framed by pines and fog, like it had been pulled from an old postcard that nobody mailed. I built it 15 years ago when the city noise got too loud, and I realized the best way to hear yourself think is to put 20 meters between you and everyone who pretends they know you. That is where she went next. 2 days after Dana closed the door in her face and Gary's number turned permanently cold, Jenna did what narcissists always do. She hunted for the one place she thought I could not disappear from. The place she never cared to visit until now. She pulled into the gravel drive fast. The tires on her Audi skidded like they were offended by dirt. She wore sunglasses the size of dinner plates and a hoodie 2 sizes too big, like that could shrink her into something less visible, less exposed. But you cannot hide from a truth that is already clothed in legal ink. She expected me, expected the Alan she remembered, the one who would sigh, maybe fold, definitely talk. the man who carved her name into a cedar bench one summer and believed silence meant forgiveness. Instead, she got Marty. Marty is 70, wears denim year-round, and talks like every word is a bet you would lose. He is the caretaker, part-time fisherman, full-time detector. He has seen bears, floods, and fire, and he ranks angry women as somewhere between raccoons and raccoons with mascara. He was sweeping the porch when Jenna marched up, arms crossed, voice already sharp. "Where is he?" she barked. Marty did not flinch. "If you mean Alan, he is not here." She took off her glasses like that would help her reclaim authority. "I know he is here. His truck is gone, but the gate was open." "Gates do not mean what they used to," Marty muttered, leaning the broom against the railing. She stepped closer. "I am his wife." He squinted like she had told him she was a Martian. "Not for long, ma'am." That made her blink. "I need to talk to him." "You do not understand. We are going through something." He nodded like he cared. Then he pulled a piece of paper from his shirt pocket. It was weathered but still legible. He handed it to her, typed, dated. "My signature at the bottom. If anyone comes asking, especially Jenna, tell them I am away indefinitely. No emotion, no address, no return." She read it 3 times like the words would rearrange into something kinder. "Did he tell you where he went?" she asked, her voice cracking for the first time. "Nope." "Did he say when he is coming back?" "Nope." She looked like she wanted to scream, but all she managed was a strangled, "This is insane." Marty picked up the broom again. "So, was Marty your best friend's mistress? But hey, life is full of curveballs." She froze. "I made a mistake," she whispered, as if Marty was the confessional booth of her crumbling dignity. He gave her a long look. Then, in the slowest draw this side of Mississippi, said, "A lot of folks realized they stepped in it right after they tracked it across someone else's floor." She stood there for a moment longer, starting toward the tree line like she thought I would step out. Arms folded, ready to forgive. But I was not in the woods. I was not behind the cabin. I was not watching because by then I was 3 states away, standing on a pier, sipping black coffee with a woman who had never heard of Jenna, Gary, or the price of betrayal. And Jenna, she drove off without looking back, because the cabin had finally answered her question. No, he is not coming home. The last domino does not fall with drama, it falls with indifference. 2 days after her visit to the cabin, Jenna got called into her manager's office. It was not scheduled. It was not casual. It was the kind of meeting where HR sits in silently like a sniper waiting for a cue. She wore her usual blazer, too expensive for the title she barely kept, too low-cut for the woman she pretended to be. "Jenna," her boss began, not even bothering to close the blinds. "We received an anonymous concern from someone identifying themselves as your spouse. That was me, except there was nothing anonymous about it. I attached my full name, the marriage certificate, the email exchanges, the retreat itinerary, and most damningly, a security photo of her in a hot tub at the company's Tahoe Lodge with Gary, champagne glass in one hand, his hand nowhere appropriate. I was not petty. I was exact." "Now, Jenna," the HR rep said, feigning warmth like a funeral director. "This is not a witch hunt, but optics matter, and there are questions." She tried to deny it at first, said it was playful, team-building, blown out of proportion. Then came the forwarded messages, screenshots of Slack DMS sent during business hours. "He is in the conference room. Let us sneak upstairs after lunch. Bring wine. I will pretend it is a meeting." They did not just sink her credibility, they drowned it. By the end of the week, Jenna was restructured out of her position. No exit package, no glowing reference, just an NDA and a cardboard box with a half-dead office plant and a stack of printouts she did not want to read. The same conference room where she used to flirt through Zoom calls was now where her career flatlined. When she got back to the apartment, the one in her name but my dime, there was a letter taped to the inside of the front door. Notice of lease termination. Effective 10 days, non-renewable, owner-initiated. That was me too. I had arranged it before I left, knowing she would not bother to check the fine print of the rental agreement I had put under my LLC because why would she? I was boring Alan, the man who designed furniture for fun and remembered to change the air filters. Of course, I would take care of rent, but not anymore. She called the leasing office. They confirmed the termination. She asked why. Owner did not provide a reason, just requested vacancy within contract limits. Legally sound, and it was. The next day, her health insurance was declined during a prescription refill. She called the provider. "I am sorry," the rep said. "Your plan was employer-sponsored. It is no longer active." She had not realized I removed her as a dependent the same hour the divorce was filed. No coverage, no cobra, no umbrella to cling to while the sky broke open. No alimony either, because Clause 14C of our prenup was written in unforgiving ink. Any confirmed act of marital infidelity voids financial entitlements. She tried texting me again. I made mistakes. I never expected you to go this far. Cannot we talk? You are being cruel. But I did not respond. Not because I was angry, but because her definition of cruelty was simply consequences. And for the first time in our entire marriage, they had finally arrived, sober, silent, and exactly on time. The next phase was predictable textbook. Even when the shock wore off and the doors kept closing, Jenna did what people like her always do, rewrote the script. Suddenly, she was the victim, the wronged, the misunderstood. Not a woman who detonated her marriage with a smirk, but a woman whose husband abandoned her without a word. Her first act was digital. She reactivated her Facebook profile, something she had not touched in years because Instagram had more filters and fewer middle-aged truths. She posted a black and white photo of a cracked teacup on a windowsill. The caption, "Some people say they love you, then disappear when you are broken the most." There were immediate likes from high school friends and yoga classmates, the kind of people who do not ask for context, just slap hearts and whisper, "You are so strong," into the void. Then came another post. 18 years erased for one mistake. You think you know someone. The comments rolled in. What happened? Text me, babe, I am here. He does not deserve you if he gave up that fast. She never mentioned my name, never tagged me, but she did not have to. She weaponized ambiguity like a pro. Meanwhile, the people who mattered, the ones who knew, stayed silent. Gary had not posted in days. Dana, his wife, changed her profile photo to a blank gray silhouette. My mutual friends with Jenna, unfriended, quietly without announcement, like she had become radioactive and they were stepping back before the fallout touched them. Then came the email. Subject line, please. I opened it only because I wanted it documented. Alan, I have been trying to make sense of everything. You shut me out so fast. I was not thinking clearly. You were always so distant. And Gary was just there. I did not want to hurt you. It did not mean anything. It just happened. Please do not throw everything away over one stupid, lonely mistake. You know me. You know I am not this person. We can fix this. You used to say I was your home. I am lost now. Please come home. No apology, no admission, just justification, blame shifting, and a desperate appeal to the version of me she thought might still be waiting somewhere, docile and hurt enough to crawl back. I read it once, then again. Then I opened a new message to my legal team, attached the email, one line in the body, emotional manipulation, archive it. That is all. I did not rage. I did not reply. I did not send it back with red lines and timestamps and bullet points about how Holmes do not cheat with your best friend and lie about book club. I simply had it filed like any other piece of evidence, because that is all her words were now, exhibit material. She kept posting more quotes, more healing journey nonsense. One day it was, sometimes strong women break too, followed by, closure is something you give yourself. But no one from my side commented. No one called her brave. No one fed the performance. Silence once again did all the heavy lifting. And Jenna, once so loud in her righteousness, was left screaming into the digital abyss, hoping for echoes that would never come. The cabin had not changed, but everything inside it had. The air was still crisp, pine-scented. The woodpile stacked precisely how I left it. Marty had kept his promise. Gutters clean, pantry stocked, not a scratch on the truck. But there was a new rug in the living room now, a softer one, a woman's touch. Funny how something so small can reframe a space, can turn a hiding place into a home again. It had been 34 days since I last stood on that porch, 34 days since I handed my past to a lawyer and stepped off the grid. In that time, I had learned something surprising. Peace is not quiet. It is absence, absence of performance, of manipulation, of walking on eggshells that were mine to begin with. Now the sun was setting. There were 2 glasses on the table, one for me, one for someone who had never heard of Jenna, but listened like she had been there through every storm. She was a school librarian from Georgia, wore flannel and laughed with her whole mouth. We met by accident, stay in touch by choice. I was opening a bottle of wine when the knock came, not urgent, not hesitant, just a sound. I did not react, just walked slowly to the door and opened it. Jenna, or what was left of her. Her makeup was minimal, her clothes hung off her like they had not fit in weeks. Her eyes, those sharp, calculating things, were now dim, wet, searching for something that no longer lived behind my face. She did not speak right away, just stared past me, and then she saw it, the second glass. I did not flinch. Did not move to hide it. Did not offer a lie to soften the blow. That glass was not a symbol. It was a verdict. Her lips trembled. "Alan, I just wanted to talk." She said it with the same voice she used the night she told me, "Relax." It meant nothing. But now everything did mean something. From inside the cabin, the voice came soft, kind, unbothered. "Alan, want me to pour it?" Jenna froze. Then a woman stepped into the doorway's glow. Barefoot, calm, smiling, not young, not flashy, not some revenge fantasy in lipstick, just real. She looked at Jenna with the polite indifference you reserve for a distant cousin at a funeral you did not want to attend. Then she stepped back into the cabin like she had seen a raccoon and decided it was not worth chasing. Jenna blinked. Her mouth opened, but no sound came. I watched her, not with anger, not even with triumph, just distance, the same kind she once accused me of. And then I did the most honest thing I had done in 18 years. I closed the door. Not hard, not loud, just closed it. And on the other side I poured the second,